Guys, you got Paul van Meekeren here. So, Dinesh, should we all go to the back of the room? Okay, great. All right. Thanks very much, everyone, for joining us here for this post-match press conference. We're joined by Paul van Meekeren of the Netherlands, following Netherlands versus India at Sydney Cricket Ground. We've got a full room here in Sydney, and we'll be taking questions from in the room before then inviting questions from Zoom. So can I see a show of hands, please, for questions for Paul?
Yeah, just tell us your experience of bowling to the top Indian batsmen, like Rohit and Virat and the others.
It was good fun. You don't get these opportunities very often. I think our approach was, at the end of the day, it's someone holding a bat, a bit of wood. So try and keep it as simple as possible, stick to your own strengths, and just take one ball at a time. And tonight was not our night, but I think the guys thoroughly enjoyed it.
Without sort of going too much onto the experience of all this again, just what was it like out there when, with the sea of blue in the crowd, you're in the field, Virat's going, just what is that like as an experience out there in the middle?
Yeah, very new. I think, to be honest, I think I'm just like, you're just in your own little bubble. You try and block the noise out. So, I mean, you've watched it on TV about 100 times, and just to be there is very special. I think in the moment I probably didn't realize it as much, and it will probably sink in the next 24 hours.
I think overall you must have been pretty happy with that bowling performance. Obviously a couple of sixes off that last over, but considering the pitch, considering South Africa early in the day, were you happy to keep them to that 180 total?
Honestly, probably a little bit less. I think we just... Looking at myself, I gave 3 quite easy boundaries away. I think if we're being hard and honest to ourselves, then probably a little bit less, ideally, especially after the first 10 overs. Obviously, we didn't take the wickets that we wanted to, which gives them the freedom to play as they did at the back. But yeah, that's really, we're being hard on ourselves. And against these guys, you can't miss by a centimetre and you travel. So you're bowling against the best players in the world, and even if you miss a little bit, you just go. And I personally did it 3 times. And I'm sure some of the other bowlers might feel the same about their own bowling. But I think, personally, I'm very proud about how we went about it. Them being 1 down, it could have been a lot more. We could have panicked and lose our heads. But I think all the bowlers stayed very clear in what they wanted to do. They came with a good plan, stick to it, and just try and execute. And sometimes you get it wrong and you travel, and sometimes you execute and it's only a dot ball, and no matter how good they are.
And how important is a match like this for cricket in the Netherlands? I mean, these are the matches as a player you'd want to play in, but also knowing that millions of people around the world, because it's against India, are watching the Netherlands play.
Again, it's massive. I mean, the amount of media we got back home because we're playing India was immense. Getting photos and messages from people in Holland, from family, about just the articles and how it's a boy's dream, and how I said about something, this is a day I will tell to my grandkids, hopefully. And that's what it is, playing against India. But at the end of the day, you're playing against 11 other men. They're not gods or anything. So you just compete men to men. And that's what we tried to do today. And it didn't plan out probably the way we hoped to.
Putting your players' union cap on for a moment, I know you're quite big on that. Looking to the group, the likes of the Pringles, the Vikramjit Singhs and others. Looking now, playing against India, to pick up off the last question, how important is it for those guys to be blooded into the system early? And what do you think the lessons are for Dutch cricket in this next generation for them to kind of bloom and realise their full potential?
I think I'm going to not comment too much on that. I do have set up the Dutch Player Association. What we discussed with the KNCB and how I see it, I like to keep to myself and deal that with the KNCB and not share it with the media.
And just quickly on you personally, I know that in patches, even though you've been playing a lot of domestic cricket around the world, TPL, in the UK as well, there's been a lot of shuffling in and out of the team in general. So coming back and having the experience of previous tournaments, how important has that been for you to kind of hit the ground running and perform well, especially with the ball?
Big. Obviously, having the county guys available for a tournament like this makes us a stronger team. But I think that we didn't have the county guys available during the summer playing against Pakistan, West Indies and England actually took a lot of guys to the next level. I think Bastelade had a breakthrough year and he's been rewarded in the International League. Vikram, similar against West Indies, I think, if I'm not correct, scored 340s or maybe 50 in there. And the same with Shari. He's bowling fantastically well. He only put 1 over today, and he did what was asked from him, and that he didn't get a second over. That's not his fault. He did a great job, and he will be one of those guys who will be around the setup for a long time, I hope.
Vimal Kumar this side. Yesterday I did an interview with your captain and I asked him that which Indian batsman is going to be the threat. Instead of Kohli or Rohit Sharma, which is generally the answer, he spoke about Suryakumar Yadav and the kind of innings he played today. Your thoughts on that?
I think we know how good Sky is. Over the last 12 months or not longer, I've personally felt he was the biggest threat to bowl to. Just with his open stance, it was like, just felt that a margin of error was a lot smaller compared to Kohli and maybe a Rohit, who are a bit more traditional. They're very good players in the right, and Virat and Rohit played some unbelievable shots. But when I was bowling, I felt the biggest pressure came when I was bowling to Sky, and obviously if you miss a little bit, he punishes you, and same with the other guys, but he did just a little bit more today.
Okay, we'll take the last question from the room then, please.
Yeah, what was the conversation like? You had them down to 32 for 1 at the power play, actually. And also the second question is, it's 36,000 plus crowd. It's already asked that question. It's something only the Holland football team is used to probably. It's any talks about that at the break or something like that?
No, we knew there was going to be a big crowd, and I think maybe playing against England this year, when we had a big crowd against England in Holland, maybe gave a few guys that experience of the noise. And I can't really remember your first question, but yeah, we've been really good in the power play this year. I think the wicket was a little bit too paced, maybe, but you still need to execute, and I think we executed brilliantly in the power play, but we just didn't get the wickets that we wanted to. And against a team like India with so much power in their batting order, if you don't take wickets, you can't put them under that pressure of what you ideally want to do as a bowling unit. But that's what happens when you play against guys who play cricket professionally 24/7, and we've got guys in the change room, who pay to go to their own trainings and only get paid when we go on tour and play games in Holland. So, if we could get paid, it might not be a different game, but that's the level of difference against guys who can hit 1,000 balls every week and guys who go study, work, all those kind of things. So,
Just to finish off, teams like India should play Holland more often. It's the first match.
Yeah, I think this year, hopefully, we showed how good the wickets are in Holland. I think the practice wickets were outstanding back home. And we played some competitive games. So there's no reason why test teams can't come to Holland as their prep instead of playing the counties. And hopefully they've identified, I think, as a non-cricketed nation, a lot of these big players can walk the street without being recognized. So they have a bit more freedom playing in Holland. And we got the facilities. We can be as competitive as playing the warm-up games against other counties. So why not come to Holland for 10 days before they travel on to England?
Okay, great. I think that concludes today's press conference. Thanks very much for your time, Paul, and thanks very much everyone in the room.
All right, thank you. Cheers.